Lots of misinformation about all the new Harley Davidsons, and this is really from their freaking website, but you can see the price right here for a street drop, Bob, with M8 motors, like their smallest big twin, if you want to call it, 16,000. So they're not, they'll tell you $50,000, $80,000 or whatever. It's BS. It's $16,000. You can get, a Nightster, which my beef though with any of these new bikes is I think they're too complicated to work on. That's not just Harley. That's everybody across the board, and the cars are worst. I would never get, unless in my opinion, it's like, if buying a new bike or car is like buying you know, $10 to the average person, then go ahead and do it. It's like to me, they've deliberately made these things overcomplicated across the board. I'm not saying it's Harley Davidson. I just mean all these corporations. But the reason I say Harley has been around so long is due to the stubbornness of the riders. Whatever they did, they screwed up in the factory, or whatever they did, there was some new model came out or whatever, and what they had to do was the entrepreneurs, the machine shops, and everything like that, the actual riders, they found solutions around it, and then usually the factory would incorporate the fixes later. Now, this Sportster S, some people hate this bike. I don't see really nothing wrong with it, to tell you the truth. It's got what I don't like about it personally, which is across the board with anything, Kawasaki, Honda, Ducati, BMW. They all are way more complex today than they ever been with all this electronic stuff. So I mean, you can look down on this thing, you can see 121 horsepower, and that horsepower, they got a nice torque curve. In other words, the horsepower comes on real low on a lot of these engines. Like maybe not so much the Revolution Max 1250, but the damn 8 motors. But what I'm saying is, the bashers are really, I suspect I see a lot of AI videos out there bashing Harley Davidson. I'm thinking, who's making that stuff? Honda, Kawasaki, BMW? I don't know. Somebody is. I don't think it's Harley. I don't think it's regular people because, to make an AI video, you got to have some technical expertise. And, it's not like just, why would you make an AI video bashing Harley Davidson? Why would you do that? What would be the big incentive for you to do this? Are you going to make a lot of monetized money off your ads or something? No, it's probably being done by Harley's competitors. That's what I'm assuming. But the real reason Harley Davidson's been around is because, for one, the patriotic people in the United States buy USA. Even if it's not all USA, it's mostly USA. Most of the bike is USA manufactured, and it's all USA assembled, except for now the Nightster or something like that, and the Sportster S. I think they're over in Taiwan. But this bike is $16,000. It's a street bob, right? I think you got the lace wheels cost more. I wouldn't get lace wheels anyway if I even got a bike, but I would not get one because. But you look at these specs. This 98 horsepower. This bike is not even that heavy. It's like 40 pounds or something like that. 47 miles to the gallon, and it's got a small tank on it. It's like three and a half gallons. But that's still not bad. Still not bad. And it's kind of like a bike like this actually is something that most riders would actually the average rider would like. They should make another version of the Sportster more like in line with the old one. I personally think that would be a smart thing to do and keep that Sportster S. But, I don't see anything wrong with any of these bikes. And what I find fault is like, I shouldn't jinx myself because I got a really old bikes, man. And I wouldn't want to deal with all this stuff. Traction control, anti-lock. It's probably a good thing because it does make you a lot safer in a lot of ways, right? You got your cornering enhanced anti-lock brake system. I'm like, wow, man. It does make you safer, and maybe I'll jinx myself by saying I don't like all this stuff, but I don't want to jinx myself. But what I'm saying is that, I don't like all that complexity because that stuff's gonna break someday, and it's like, Their solution would be it's too expensive to fix, so go buy a new bike. And I'm like, get the hell out of here, man. I mean, I don't like that. I keep looking back at these guys like Scooter Tramp Scotty with his Evo. That Evo, man, if they sold that Evo today, that would be the bike to get it. I'd be like all for a brand new one if they made like a brand new 1986 Evo, the same thing. And you don't even need no 6-speed stuff. I don't even know how many speeds these Jap bikes have. They got 7 speeds, 8 speeds. I don't even know what they got. 6 speeds in a Harley is even overkill, big time. You only need 5. That motor puts out the horsepower from like 2,000 RPMs or 1,500 RPMs all the way up to whatever, 55, 6,000, whatever it is. And it pulls hard all the way through. Now, my old-ass 89 Sportster, I got a 23 sprocket in the front and a 46 in the back. So that's as most you can get it for highway. It's a 4-speed. And I like the 4-speed. You know why? Because I don't have to shift that much. It's like but the motor's been modified enough that it pulls from all RPMs. I personally like that old thing that rattles. I just like that bike. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. I mean, they made these. I don't know what the hell it is. It's like I can't see nothing out of my rear view mirrors, man. They're like all. It's got a chain on it, stuff. I don't care, but. I'm looking at these AI videos. This is the only reason I'm making this video, because this is not AI, man. No way. I don't know. I don't even know how to do that garbage. But these AI videos coming out bashing Harley Davidson left and right. Do you think they're actually made by some independent creators that just want to make an AI video to bash Harley Davidson? I don't think so. I think they're made by the competition. And I just want to point out, you're looking at this. This is a Milwaukee 8 bike. Now, I personally think the Milwaukee 8 is probably a very good motor. It probably, it's more complex than the Evo. Basically, the Evo is sort of like a refined shovel head, And actually today, you could have a shovel head. Like if you got an S&S shovel head or something like that, or I don't even know if Ultimate makes a shovel head. Maybe they do, but you got something like a more modernized shovel head. Even that thing would freaking go forever. But the M8, it's more complex. And I think the first few years they came out, they had some problems with them. But they're good now. And, they're not... Let me say this. Nothing today, I don't give a crap what manufacturer it is. They're all kind of cutting costs somewhere. Because they'll tell you Harley Davidson, they used to do the flywheels a lot better from 1999 back. With the tapered thing, where you had to torque down the bolt and true them up. And they're more, what do you call it? Yeah. They had less run out and stuff from like 1999 and back. And, now it's kind of hit and miss. Sometimes they have a lot of run out from the factory. Sometimes they don't. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that it's still like better than the Jap bikes for the most part, or at least on par with them. And the prices aren't out of line. So, this one here is this is a lowrider ST. So you see it's got the fairing, you got the bags on it. 2-up riding and stuff. Really good bike, It's 24,000, right? Or 24,002, right? That's getting up there, but you got a bike that pretty much you can cruise all over the place with this. It's not a full like dresser stuff, but it's not super, 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 super heavy like some of these other bikes. I wish they did keep the Dyna too, but still they got enough stuff out here that it's still a good choice to make. My beef with I can't say it's Harley, it's all vehicle manufacturing, whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels. They've gotten so complicated. I wouldn't want any of that garbage. Like a car, I would take anything if they produced anything from 1968, 1966, 1970. From one of the major manufacturers back then, whether it was Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, or AMC, I would take that brand new over anything they put out in 2025. Hands down. I don't care if it was a 6-cylinder, 303, because it's like the overcomplexity they're making everything with. It's like, it's planned obsolescence and everything. So I mean, it's not Harley Davidson doing this by itself. It's like everywhere. It's all these CEOs trying to grab as much money they can for themselves with bonuses, and sticking it to the consumer basically down the line. And it's turning out that the people with the most money are buying all this brand new stuff. And if you get this, I don't know how this bike's going to fare in a long term, but it'll probably be okay though. It'll probably be pretty good. And I would think Harley Davidson's still going to outlast anything in the long run, because it's not, when they say the aftermarket's there, the aftermarket is the stubbornness of the American consumer. Because this is a USA bike. There's patriotic people out there that just stick with it, hard headed, and that's been the freaking that's been a lot of the 1% bikers and stuff like that, the ones they don't like and stuff that Sheriff Chitwood don't like and everything. They're the ones that kept this whole company alive. And what I'm saying is though that people, I don't like the freaking any of the new bikes on any manufacturer, all across the board. But Harley Davidson is still a better choice than the other ones. It still is. And the prices are not out of line with the competition. So, like I said, these AI videos out there left and right that are criticizing the hell out of Harley Davidson and saying this and that and all this kind of crap. I know who's making it. It kind of reminds me of like way back in the day. Ralph Nader came out with well, I don't want to compare Harley Davidson to Corvair, but I used to wonder how come Ralph Nader, remember they did that with Corvair? I used to say to myself, they had Willys Jeeps out there before. They used to flip over left and right, and they had Volkswagens with no engine in the front. They had no problem there, right? Then it's all a matter of how much you can say something 50 million times, and then it becomes true, right? Or you can emphasize something, and all of a sudden that's the worst thing in the world. So Harley Davidson, though, like I said, it's not really the company that backs up the bike. It's actually the whole, and you can't really say it's the aftermarket, quote unquote. It's all the riders, man, all the machine shops, man. I remember I don't even know what the hell, they got better shit now. They got, like for my bike, the 86 to 90 Sportster, they had a clutch shell with the magnets in it. They always came off and it hit the stator, and you had to weld a starter ring to the freaking clutch cell, or else it would spin because it was just an interference fit. It was actually a Japanese part from Showa, right? It wasn't even like an American part. And they got rid of that design in '91. They kind of fixed everything. But I think it was Zippers, the guy at this machine shop. I think it's up in Maryland. I sent it out, and they fixed everything. They put all the weights in, they shaved them down, they put it in a nylon basket, some kind of special glue, they welded up the starter ring. I ain't had no problem since in years and years and years and years, man. It's just been going. So, I think I got stuff now that you can buy aftermarket that's better than that, but it's still working, man. But guess who fixed it? It was a machine shop, right? So, I mean, this M8, I heard some things about it. Like, initially, there were some problems when it first came out, the first few years. But then, if you put, like, some aftermarket stuff in there, a different oil pump and I don't know, whatever, cam shoe tensioners, whatever the fuck it is. Excuse me. But, you can address every problem there is. But, you don't do that with anything else, And one thing I still can't stand about all the other motorcycles is, and Harley Davidson's pretty unique in this, they don't have like shared oil with the transmission and the engine. They got a separate freaking engine. Now, there's a lot of stuff, separate transmission, separate engine, right? So if you got a problem with your transmission on a Jap bike, it just goes all through your freaking engine and you could buy a motor, right? With a Harley, you don't have that kind of problem, I personally, I'd like to see a lot of the stuff go on with, they'll never do this though. I would have like the old choppers used to have, a plate that would mount the transmission to, and you would run like a primary belt drive with a dry clutch, and a lot of times it was exposed. But I guess if you put that on a new bike, you wouldn't have that from the factory exposed. But I'd imagine a lot of people wouldn't like that because it'd probably be more noisy and blah blah blah. Because people today are, You know, they want to look like a badass, but they don't want to ride something that's uncomfortable. Um, but I like that setup though. If you had, if you really simplified the hell out of this bike, I would like it a lot better. Um, but you know, there's a lot of stuff. In my opinion, I would get rid of the primary on this. I'd have a belt drive. I'd put a chain on back on it for the secondary drive, and I don't know. I'd get rid of the radiator cooling thing, and I don't know. That's just me. And tell the EPA to go. I don't know, man. I'm just imagining things right now. I don't even know why they got an EPA on a freaking motorcycle. It's ridiculous, man. It's a little dinky motor, man. Freaking United States, I think there's like not even 10. It's minuscule amount of riders we got in this country compared to like other countries, and as a whole, and they regulate the crap out of these bikes for no reason. But that's why all these new bikes suck, because they regulated all this crap into it to the point where you can't even fix them pretty much if they get when they get older. I can't imagine what you'd have to do to this stupid thing later on when you're looking for electronic modules and stuff, or whatever the hell is going to be wrong with it. I mean, I know I could figure it out. I know I can. I could do the electronic stuff too, but I'm thinking, what's the point? You just wanted to start up and go somewhere. And, this 117 stuff, it ain't really... You could take even an Evo, and you can get about... I don't know what you can get out of it, like 90 horsepower or so. Yeah, see, this puts out 98. You can get almost that same horsepower out of Evo pretty easily. So, probably want to get his mileage out of it, but so what? Pretty close. You'd probably still get 40. And it'd be real simple. Real simple. But, I look at it like this. This is kind of like poison across the board. And I don't know where this stuff is going, because I think eventually they're going to make it so regulated, it's almost going to be like a privilege to get on something. And, they're going to tax you by mile. They're going to track you by mile, because this stuff is getting ridiculous, man. This is why I think all this electronic crap needs to go out the window, because first off, it's almost impossible to fix when it gets older, because it's going to be too expensive just for the electronics. And number two, they're going to use these same electronic doodads they put in these bikes to make it so they monitor and track everything you do. Right? And then eventually the whole YouTube is going to be nothing but AI videos all over the place. So even though I just made this from the Harley website, the Harley Davidson website, at least it is an AI, But, I'm not monetized or nothing, so I don't really give a crap what I'm, about trying to get clicks or views. But this is something that's been bugging me, because I've been hearing all this criticism, and I'm not really like a fanboy of, Harley Davidson. It's got to be, I personally, from even decades ago, I got so pissed off at Harley Davidson, I said, I'm going to get everything aftermarket. Andrews cam, freaking zippers, whatever's got to get for that. That's a performance place. Fueling, S&S, Barnett, clutches and cables and performance machine, this and that, RevTech or whatever. And I was like, you can get the whole bike aftermarket. Why don't you I could do that. That's fine. But I like the fact that it's sort of like a rebuildable thing that you can always fix, no matter what's wrong with it. And now it's not Harley per se, but it's like they're all like this. But talk about Harley Davidson still be the most likely candidate to go into the future 50 years from now, where this bike could be running 50 years from now, more so than anything else out there. And you're looking at the prices; they're not crazy prices. They're in line with with the other ones. With the other ones. I mean, freaking A. It's not really something that's out of line. $16,000 for a full size motorcycle. That's not really out of line. That's a quality bike. It just got a lot of crap in it that I don't like, you know. I mean, but they're all got that crap in it today. That's what the problem is. But it's not Harley Davidson only. But you know, the AI videos, they're just tearing up Harley Davidson. So I know who's making those AI videos. They're not regular people. They're probably competitors. Anyway, over and out. Just figured I'd freaking put this video out because I was kind of like just thinking about this crap, and I said to myself, you know, even though I don't like any of the new bikes, pretty much, um, they're not. You know, I'm not saying any. I mean, any of them anywhere. You know, I mean, they're all stupid. They're all freaking electronic garbage, left and right. But you know, I still say Harley Davidson's the best out of the bunch. That's my opinion. They're nice looking bikes. They do everything. I would rather have, if I was forced to have a new bike, I would get a Harley Davidson. There's no doubt about it. I don't want a new bike though. No way in hell. I mean, if they, like I said, if they made a brand new 1986 Evo, brand new, yeah, I would get that. I would get, you know, because it's gonna be it's gonna be stone cold reliable for 8 million years, man. But anyway, so simplicity is my motto, and you know, but Harley Davidson is still a fine bike. It's just, and it's like the whole world is changing for the worst. That's really the problem. You're not hearing the AI videos say that. All these people on the top are a bunch of control freaks. They're all trying to screw you out as much money as possible. They're all trying to make things so you have to pay like a fee every year to use it or something, or they're planned obsolescence. They're all doing this. Every one of them is doing it. So everything with your refrigerator, your freaking washing machine, your dryer, the whole 9 yards, right? So this is the way it's going, man. So I'm kind of like, you know, I'm old school all the way. But, you know, I still say Harley Davidson's the best bike. If you got a new one, you got to get a new one. It's the best one. It's your best choice.